the book of Mark chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 23. And it reads, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Verse 26. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Call Elohim La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Chakadosh Bakatam. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Aquat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. So brother Yahweh Sab out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. This lesson is in regards to this article I came across on my Newsbreak app. Now it says, Satan cast out Satan. How can Satan cast out Satan? Now we know that the physical counterpart for the spiritual demon Satan is, you so-called red Hebrew Edomites, or you so-called white people, which aren't really white but are red in appearance. They lack, they don't have very much melanin, so therefore, their blood shows forth through their skin. That's why the scriptures call, Esau, wasted away, because he had no melanin. So it says, and if a house be divided against itself, if a kingdom be divided against itself, it cannot stand. And if a house be divided, it cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided. So these red Hebrew Edomites are divided. Look at America. Like it's completely divided. It ain't just Esau against Jake. Esau is against Esau, because people see that their beloved America, aka Babylon the Great, is falling. So this is Civil War, warning issued by MAGA after Donald Trump guilty verdict. And I didn't watch the trial or anything, but from what I hear, they say it looked at like illegal, fraudulent, because the judge is probably pretty much trying to, steer the verdict the way he wanted to, basically telling the jurors certain things, which is pretty much illegal. And if they doing shit like that, scriptures talk about unrighteous decrees, but again, this is all propaganda. This is all distraction. Because Donald Trump is part of the agenda. Why do you think Simpsons was predicting him being the fucking president? Like, it's nothing but happenstance or coincidence. These devils is trying to prophesy on the left hand side, so they kind of put it in your psyche, and they show that in this movie called The Skeleton Key. They said they got to get you to believe first before it can work. So it says, make America great again. Activists have warned there could be a civil war in response to Donald Trump's guilty verdict in his hush money trial on Thursday. Trump supporters have reacted with anger after the former president was found guilty on all 34 charges of falsifying business records, over $130,000 worth of payments to former adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep an alleged affair between them secret ahead of the 2016 election. Trump denies any wrongdoings and claims the case is politically motivated, but more than likely he probably did that shit. Like the thing is, people believe in Babylon the Great so much. He was convicted by a jury of his peers, which aren't really his peers. This is an Edomite that's one of the elite. Brother was talking about that in the group chat. He was talking about, because John Trump made mention of how he got a small loan from his dad of $1 million. He said small. So, you know, I mean, these people here, they literally have been, groomed with the silver spoon in their mouth. You know what I mean? You know, it talks about the Israelites, the true Jews, will be downtrodden until the Lord came back. But yet, and still, look at what these fucking devils doing in the land. They pretty much hijacked that land. You know, I was watching something, and they was talking about pretty much what America or Babylon the Great and Net, not a Jew has planned for the Gaza Strip. You know, and that's what we need. You know, we need salvation. It says, writing on X, formerly Twitter, political commentator Joey Manarino wrote, "The Civil War just begun. We no longer live in a democracy. And when you go and study history, you find out that most democracies turn into pretty much tyrannical rules. You know, like I say, my brother, 2/3, he literally, knew that much. You know, cut me one day. He said, because when you go into the Republic is supposed to be for the people." In another post he added, as of today, with this fake guilty verdict against Trump, America is no longer the United States. Yeah, because, I mean, it's over with. This place, is going to turn into a third world country. And you're seeing that pretty much based off of with all these migrants coming here. You know, you can't sustain a population of citizens that's, that was born here to have citizenship, and all these, migrants that you let in. And from what I hear, I was watching Redacted. They said what's his name? Clay Morrison. He pretty much said that they supposed to let in since they've been pretty much having an open gay policy, just the ones that they can track. It's been like 3 million people. So, you know what I mean? This shit over with. In another post he added, as of today, with this fake guilty verdict, we are a third world shithole heading for civil war. Tim Pool, a conservative commentator with over 2 million followers, wrote, "War." Newsweek contacted a representative for Trump by email to comment on this story. Amid escalating tensions between Republicans and Democrats, Trump supporters have repeatedly suggested that if he doesn't win the 2024 election, there will be a civil war. And it's funny because you got to remember, what was that, 2023, with the whole storming the White House? You know, he incited that. And then just this year, everything is well, no, that wasn't 2023. I can't even remember. That's a damn shame. But whatever year that was, when pretty much they stormed the White House, they call it an insurrection or whatnot, which is mentioned in the scriptures, but pretty much he incited that. And then now it's funny because you got these, low-level elites, low-level Edomites that's talking about, well, yeah, let they not pretty much elect him, it's gonna be civil war. You think it's happenstance and coincidence that they came out with a movie called Civil War this year? Just like, you think it's happenstance and coincidence that they pretty much it's promoting this civil war, you know what I mean? Because the thing is this, the country's broke. So when the country's broke, the way to cover that shit up is they go to war. You know what I mean? It says, amid escalating tensions between Republicans and Democrats, Trump supporters have repeatedly suggested that if he doesn't win the 2024 election, there will be a civil war. Some Trump supporters have also shown a propensity for violence in the past, most notably when the U.S. Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. Right, because he went from 2016 to 2020, and then Biden came in 2021 to protest the results of the 2020 election. Speaking to the Newsweek, Todd Landman, a professor of political science at the School of Politics and International Relations at the University of Nottingham in the UK, said there could be a backlash to the verdict that involves violence. What the scriptures talk about, with much violence, yeah, that's the spirit. Let me think of the scripture. It's the book of this is my second time doing this video, but scripture in the book of Revelations. 18, what's that? 21. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 21, and it reads, "And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, into the people, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon," which is, the spiritual name of America, because this is a land of confusion, be thrown down and shall Salakia and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. So yeah, it's gonna be great violence. You know what I mean? You can see it. People are fucked up out here. People are frustrated, and you gotta remember these devils study shit. You know what I mean? They know. They know how many people are broke. You know what I mean? Like they release certain money. You know what I mean? They knew how long certain money was gonna last. Certain people. With the income tax and all that. From what I hear, there's a lot of people that still hadn't got their income taxes, and a lot of people state income taxes was robbed and stolen. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of fraud going on. The verdict was quite a lightning bolt last night, he said. For many, it was a vindication and a demonstration of accountability. For others, it was an example of political persecution spearheaded by the Democrats. Supporters of Mr. Trump are outraged and are lashing out at the justice system, particularly that of New York. It is not unreasonable to expect a backlash that involves violence, particularly against some of the protagonists in the Manhattan trial. Targeted violence in the first instance could lead to a wider conflagration across the United States involving highly polarized actors. My sincere hope is that it's not the case. But, y'all hoping in the wrong thing. This is the will of Yahweh Shem Shah. Scriptures talk about, being civil unrest, matter of fact, I got one. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, the burden of Egypt. And you know that word burden pretty much means prophecy. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Shem shall ride upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Because, this devil, does a lot of things by left-hand means, When you go into pretty much like, you go get a book like, what's that fucking book? Like Behold a Pale Horse, or, can't think of the book off the top of my head right now. It's been so long since I read one. It's like one of the books that brothers get into when they come into the truth, because so-called conspiracy. But then when these conspiracies are adding up and they come to find out that they're more fact than fiction, is it considered a conspiracy still? But when you look at the geographical layout of Washington D.C., you can see that pretty much it was built on gematria. Sacred geometry, that's what I meant, sacred geometry, and that, it was set up, certain ley lines and whatnot, and that's what, this place was destined and designed to be, this place that tried to push, this NWO, because it's the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because ultimately, that NWO, or that charagma, that mark, is the Most High's mark, to test the world, to test his elect, because the elect are going to be proven who to elect. Those that refuse or do not get, that charagma. So it says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Well, who is the modern day Egyptian? You so-called Edomites. Proving that by, even on your very dollar bill, which is crashing right now, which is falling, pretty much it shows a pyramid, And you go into your Freemasonry, a lot of the things that they participate in is Egyptian rites and rituals, with the apron and, what I mean, phallus worship and all that old shit, That's how low level people are, you know what I mean? Like, you got a power that created all of creation, but you got these weak individuals. They'll put power in, a woman's vagina, or a man's phallus. I can't think of where that's at in the scriptures, but I remember there's a scripture where the female talking about blessed is those, the paps, meaning the tits. You have women worship all the way still trying. Like, that's how much women want to be, in a position. You know what I mean? Even back then. You know what I mean? Like, but not to digress. It says, let me jump into Second Ezra. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, start at verse 1, and it reads, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Now that's funny because I just brought that out in Isaiah. The burden goes into prophecy. This says the prophecy because the scriptures prophesy before for Simon and to say, to speak before, and the scriptures, the Bible is a book of prophecies, and one of the prophecies is a civil war, brother against brother, verse, it says, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So they're not our words. The Lord is putting these words in our mouth. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Scriptures talk about the Most High saying his word will not go out void. Everything that's written in these scriptures is going to come to pass. And we seeing them in real time. It's only a few major prophecies to get this thing jumping up. You about to have World War III. I literally just said America and Russia is pretty much, Americans got boots on the ground. I wonder how they going to do that. I mean, but I can see how they going to do it. They don't let these migrants in. That's a lightweight army right there. You know what I mean? So, you 2/3 niggas going to get caught up in that draft too. Verse 3, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity or the unbelief of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Those that don't believe or that hope in DJ Trump, because that's just nothing but a man. That's a part of this agenda. You got Esau, Edom, and they're not even really good actors, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been into movies, you know what I mean? And certain brothers is in movies in camp, of course, and all the camps, certain brothers ain't, but, for the most part, a lot of brothers are. And, like I said, you can see good actors, and a lot of these politicians are poor actors. Donald Trump is a poor actor. But that shows you how some left-hand shit going on because, again, he incited the riot or the insurrection, January 6th insurrection, and then now all of a sudden you got these people talk about let something happen to him, it's going to be, a civil war. And I know these devils mean that shit. It says, behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And the scriptures talk about the sins of this place of reaching on to the heavens. You know what I mean? Like, just like this, like they not holding back on their wickedness. Skipping to verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's maybe one nation of people. That's race wars, but it could be, again, you got these Democrats and these Republicans. You know what I mean? Like I said, like that's the Republicans saying, let y'all do something, let him, let him not win. They said, let him not win the presidency, and it's gonna be civil war. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. We saw that already just with the lockdowns or the LDs. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. I listened to this one economist named Johnny Bravo, and he always say, when it should go down, you don't want to be in the cities. And you don't. You see any of the movies like Blackout or whatnot, like them gonna be some of the most dangerous places. And a lot of people, as violent as America is, a lot of people ain't ready for the conditions that's about to be. Those migrants, they kind of adapted. They used to certain shit. These pampered as Americans, the only thing that make them dangerous is a lot of Americans are armed. It's more guns than it is people. And this is all, scriptures talk about it's time for the Most High to work because they have made void thy law. This is the Lord working, setting all these scenarios up so they could all, meet up at the same time. Like that Final Destination movie where they all met at the train station, or the subway station, at the train, I think, killed them or something like that. Showing you that nobody can escape Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. It ain't gonna be no food. So what do you think people gonna do? They're gonna take strong, take from the weak, just to prove that scriptures talk about insurrection. Second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 68 says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto the idols. That's when they go into, basically try to get you to, in that hour of temptation, try to get you to pretty much, renounce Yahweh Shem Shah and serve this beast ass system. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. Those that agree and accept it, yeah, you still gonna be like you got these individuals that made these deals, and why? How could you trust the devil? It made me think of that movie Saw. It say, in hell, the only one you could trust it or is Satan or something like that. But look at P. Diddy was rubbing elbows, and like everybody's aware of what this nigga was doing. That's why it wasn't shocking to Hollywood. But then yet still, what happened? When they used him up, they threw him up under the bus. Then they trying to talk about they gonna give Nas or Usher his position. So that wickedness still got to continue, because the whole world lieth in wickedness. Verse 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Let's look up the word insurrection. Says a insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. The insurrection was savagely put down. Well, it said it's going to be an insurrection or a violent uprising against those that fear Yahweh Shem Shah. Because, you're going to have martyrs and you know what I mean? Because it's all a testimony to, it's a testimony. That's your lot. You know what I mean? Like, we all go through our testimonies each and every day when we catching our hell, when we, you don't know what the Lord going to do to you. The Lord just got you here to be missile food or a casualty. You know what I'm saying? Scriptures talk about in the book of Isaiah, I forgot where it's at, but it talk about fuel for the fire. And then again, I remember the elder, Apostle Tahar, the beloved elder, said America's a great altar, because this is a sacrifice. So a lot of these people are just fuel for the fire of the words of Shimon Shah. These are the words that the Lord Yahweh Shimon Shah spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, Yahweh meaning he saved. Slakia. Yahweh meaning he exists or he is or he to be. By Hashem meaning in the name. Yahweh Shah meaning he is the Savior or he the deliverer. The true names of who you ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ. We have, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and of not of peace. Because we are not in a time of peace. The book of Ecclesiastes talk about a time for love and a time for peace and a time for war and a time for hate. Well, we're in time of war. That's why you got all these fucking wars going on. I just made mention of at least 3 or 4 times that they saying that they officially saying America and Russia are at war. They talking about France is going to start sending troops to Ukraine. And that's a strategy of war. They trying to keep the war out that way. So, so their homeland is not invaded. Keep the damage over there. So it says, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, and as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Out of fear. Scripture's talking about a man, they say a man gonna be shook. The only men that's gonna be, you know, you're gonna understand the continence. You're gonna realize the difference between a man of the Lord and one of these other men, and that's why women and people gonna flock to him, because this man is gonna be in a certain kind of spirit. He ain't gonna be losing his shit because he gonna know, man, the Lord had already told us and forewarned us of these things. So he gonna have a certain continence. He gonna have a certain stature. He gonna move a certain kind of way. Verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. And who was Jacob? Jacob's name was turned to Israel. So you Israelites is going to be a time where we going to catch hell, you know. And, the scriptures talk about the devil coming out with great wrath, you know. Like I say again, it's going to be a time when they going to just Jake the problem. And you see they orchestrating it now. They doing certain little shit in certain cities. They're talking about in Chicago, in the inner cities where mostly poor, low-income Jake is. They say there's like 700,000 residents in this area. Well, they say they brought in 700,000 migrants. And everybody wanted to fight over resources. So, yeah, I mean, Esau, that's what the devil do, though, And with it, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy. The 2/3, they love to have it so. Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he, and who is the he? The he represents the elect. But he shall be saved out of it. Because it's always going to be a remnant, And there's so many scriptures on the elect, The elect is the Israel of the most, the elect is the Most High's Israel. Because all of Israel is not Israel. So I'm going to end the lesson there. We are in some spiritual times. I suggest if you are not familiar with this truth, but you feel something about it, or, something spiritually is nagging with you, I suggest, you pray to the Lord, try to get into this thing, get the understanding, because, our lives is going to drastically change. And to be honest, I could see it being this year, because like I said again, we ain't seen these bank failures yet. I work in manufacturing, and we always do work, but come to find out, they haven't, pretty much, I didn't know, but I was relayed something, like this job I'm doing, working on, and I'm like, well, they trying to rush me to finish it now, and I'm like, well, damn, shouldn't we have done this first? And he like, no, I think they was late getting the material. I'm like, what? So if you can't even get steel like that because everything is fucked up, so it might be supply chain shortages again. Like I was just watching Full Spectrum Survival. They were saying that pretty much like in the next couple of days, some shit could go down at any time. That's why scriptures talk about peace and safety and sudden destruction coming upon them. You got to be circumspect, and you got to be always, seeking Yahweh Shem Shah. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shem Shah, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim Yahweh, Shem Yahushai, Shem honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teaching do well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Aqua, thought to listen and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson, I say shalom, shalom, kwam yasharala.